The truth is true always. Is it not time, beloved friends, to truly step into the ownership of your own reality? The heart does not know the word avoidance. It does not know deception, manipulation, or control. It does not know blame. Though it watches these things arise as echoes of old patterns, now outgrown. It learns to see them, to recognize them, like you might recognize certain clouds that pass through the sky. And then it learns to turn the attention to the mind that a new choice might be made. When you can dance with the darkness that you have created, that darkness is transformed into light. As we go into meditation, I invite you to contemplate. Only love is real. Only love can heal. I am love informed. As you bring your attention gently back to the sound of my voice, know that there is only God, and there's nothing outside of it. We live in it, and it lives in us. And it is good. It is infinite, eternal, all-knowing, all-loving, all-powerful, and everywhere present, available in its entirety. And I give thanks that we are here today in person or online, and that the divine intelligence that lives in us communicates through Reverend Suzette with ease and grace, and the musicians inspire, and the technology sends us out to every corner of the world, and that we are here together to be in community, to learn the gentleness of our spirit, of our true spirit. I speak these words into the law of mind, knowing it is done. I say thank you, Mother, Father, God, and so it is.
And so it is.
And now let's hear some more from Talia and Wes.
Let's bring them up, you guys.
Everyone's left, the choices were made. One way or another, the pilgrimage paid. The river reminds me what's behind me. The bear, she called me to I belong here, yes I know. With the fire's burning low, a new the seeds of my heart, they get a new start, rising lightly in the smoke. The seeds of my heart, they get a fresh start, rising gently in this road. A new me and my legs, my breath and my back. The trail ahead, essentials are packed.
going to shift this just a little bit.
Yes.
In case I move around and hit something. So. Good morning, everybody. So I'm just going to start off by reminding you we have a meeting afterwards. We have food for you. So you get your food, come back right away. For those of you that are online, we're going to stay online so that you can participate or listen to the presentation too. Okay? All right. So, where are we at here? I need my clicker. It's on my chair. Oh my goodness. All right, let's see where we're at here. All right. I see what he did. Okay. So the topic today is your gentleness is showing. And I would show you the other page, except it was misspelled and not appropriate. So just know that your gentleness is showing. Be nice to me, okay? So I'm gonna, it's interesting. Sometimes I get these are prepared, and sometimes I just don't get them. They don't resonate with me. They don't feel right. I feel like something's missing. And so this morning I woke up and I thought, that's something missing. So this talk is gonna go in a few different places, but every place is really important. So pull it all together by the end, okay? So your gentleness is showing. I'll start out with, how many people here feel they're really gentle? Don't raise your hands. Well, if you are, that's great. I think it's wonderful if you are. I know that I'm not, and I know I've had to learn how to be gentle. Anyway, I'm going to start out with a little story. Now, I'm going to read from Raymond Charles Barker. It's called Treat Yourself to Life. It's a very old book. This was given to me by a minister who, in fact, there's a letter in here from Barker, Raymond Charles Barker, personal letter to her, the person that gave me this book. And she was a minister and no longer with us, but for many, many years actually tied to us. So it's kind of cool. Anyway, I'm going to start out with a little story, and it's about a woman. Her name is Ruth. And she walks in to see Charles. So this book is about him giving her support. And it's actually his words. So, but she's coming in and saying things like, my life is bad. It's not going to work. It's horrible, blah, 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 blah. And here's what here's how I'll just read it. It says, yesterday and tomorrow held Ruth in vice-like grip. Her full mental attitude and attention and emotional response were channeled to yesterdays and the tomorrows. That's the important part. It was yesterdays and tomorrow. She had unconsciously become a victim of her own misuse of mind. Gradually and carefully, I pointed this out to her. Following our talk and my treatment, she began to gear her mind to the present day. She came forward to the now, and new doors opened for her. Now, I say this to you because we forget sometimes who we are along the journey, right? And we have to realize that there are many parts to us. One of us is the greatness, and one of us is the gentleness. And they're always traveling with us no matter where we go. No matter where we are. No matter the day, no matter the circumstances, no matter. So, I asked you who is gentle. I want to say, how many wish you were more gentle? That's the real question. We all do. We all, there are times, and I'm going to give you some examples, where we all wish we were. Because for me, I grew up as a kid that had a lot of rough stuff going on as a child, and I grew up angry. And because I was angry, I didn't really think about the other side, which is the gentle part. It was more like, a china in a bull shop, get there. Or bull in a china shop, you know what I mean? And so I had to learn how to do this, and I had to learn certain things about me. One was my voice. I remember the first time I ever really realized I have power in my voice. And I actually used it on somebody, and it was like, oh, they paid attention. You know what I mean? Or I had to learn to listen to my heart. Because there are moments where we just kind of do it, and there are moments we go, oh, you know what, I need to do it here, do it from here. And then there's some wisdom that came along the way. And many of us have been here for a long time, so you know what that wisdom looks like. We figure out, oh, we have to put all those pieces together. Excuse me, I just went the wrong direction there. Science of Mind says this. It says, gentleness is not just letting yourself off the hook and giving yourself a free pass. It's at its core, gentleness takes awareness, compassion, and gratitude for who you are and where you are. It takes courage to choose gentle, but it's a worthy exploration. Gentleness reminds you that you are so much more than you give yourself credit for. It allows the pain, the sorrow, the fear, and the doubt to be for your highest good. It opens you up to see things differently and be okay with being yourself. So today I'm going to talk about 3 examples, because I like to give examples so that we can kind of say, well, am I there? Have I done that? Blah, 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 blah. First one is caregiving. Caregiving. I'll ask a question on that one. The next one is working with animals and training them. Yeah. And the third one is ourselves. Are we gentle with ourselves? I was thinking about these and I thought, well, there are some similarities to this. So let me tell you what I have. I put, we have to listen and manage our emotions inside as we manage what's going on outside. All 3 of these the same way. We have to give ourselves a break when we do it wrong. I do a lot of wrong, and I'm always having to give myself a break. Okay, try again. And then we also have to recognize or give ourselves a pat on the back when we do it right. When we do it right, what happens, we reinforce a habit. We start to go, oh, okay, that's the way to do it. They responded to that one. For me, it's the gentleness. They responded to me being gentle, opposed to being in a hurry and ignoring them. Brene Brown says this. She says, authenticity is the daily practice of letting go who we think we're supposed to be and embrace who we really are. So the question I have for you today is, how many of you have been caretakers? So you'll appreciate what I'm going to say. I think that's one of the most difficult things personally I've ever had to do in my life, is to caretake for someone else. Because there's sadness. For me, there's sadness. A lot of frustration, because what you say is not necessarily what they want or do. Or they tell you as you're walking to the other room that they need this. There's this thing that goes on. It's a frustrating thing. There's an awkwardness, because you want them to be strong. You want them to have all that they want. And you want them to be comfortable. Love, lots of love going on. Because if you're going to be gentle and help somebody, you have to have some love there. And yet there's what I call exhaustion. You know what that is, right? Exhaustion. The thing about these things that I talked about is they all happen at the same time. It's this jumble that's going on inside of us. And we have to just be compassionate with ourselves. Now I talk about animals, working with animals or training them. This is one I've had to deal with a lot lately. The first thing I noticed was the brain power of the animal. Sometimes they're too young and they just don't understand you. You know? I remember my little 3-year-old Forrest going, come on, let's go! And he's like, what? Who are you? Or they're too old. I have a 7, 8-year-old that's got arthritis, and she's stubborn. So if I put a leash on her, she goes slower. It's the truth. And then trying to manage the 2 of them at the same time. Oh, my goodness. The other thing is there's frustration that goes on, because if you yell at an animal, what does the animal do? It cowers, or it just, it like, what are you talking about? I didn't do anything wrong. Right? It doesn't get it. So I'm noticing that I'm having to be gentle in my communication. In fact, it was yesterday, I think it was. He has this tendency where I'll open the door and he wants to run out. Oh my God. And I can't let him do that. He's just, he's a baby. Anyway, he did that yesterday. And of course, I've got my leg on the door, holding his head, making sure he doesn't get out. And then I'm like, what are you doing? And then I thought, I'm going to yell at him. And instead I didn't. I went, sit, in a calm voice. Yeah. Yay. But I have had to learn how to do that, to be gentle with him. And you know what he did? He went. So it worked. So now I reinforced myself because now I did something right? Yay. And then there's also the wishing, the hoping, and praying that they'll get the command. I'm trying to teach him how to do down, right? If I have a treat, he's really good at it. There's a caveat to that. If I give him a treat and he goes down, you know what he does? He stays there now because he wants another treat. So I guess I'm the one that has to be trained, right? Then ourselves, being gentle with ourselves. Raise your hand if you are hard on yourself. See, you're not alone. I want you to see that. You're not alone. How many of you want everything to happen right now? Okay. How many of you forgive yourselves when you make a mistake? Oh, a few of you. Good, good. And how many of you tell yourself, I love you no matter what? A few of you. A few of you. So today I'm giving you a mirror exercise. I would like you to try this for the next week. Is every day when you get up and you go into the mirror, no matter what your hair looks like, I say that because mine's just not behaving at all, is I want you to look at yourself and say, I love you just the way you are. I love you just the way you are. Can you do that? Yep. Raise your hand if you promise me. I promise you. Good. Thank you. So here's the deal about all of this. We have to be ourselves all the time, no matter what. Good, bad, indifferent, ugly, pretty, whatever. Filled with mud on our face, it does not matter. We have to be ourselves. And Barker says this, which, I have these books, just so you know, I have a whole library back there of really old books. And this one drew me last week. I have to look at this book. Anyway, he says, your life is all you really have. Your years on this planet are your most priceless possession. It is perfectly normal to want health, peace of mind, security, and creative expression. You would be a strange person not wanting these things, but you'll never secure them from the outside. The only security you have in this world is the handling of your own thoughts. Your insurance policy will give you the decent burial and leave a bit to your heirs, but your mind alone determines your experience while you're here on earth. This is ancient wisdom, old wisdom, guys. And I tell you this every single week, but it's like, wow, they knew it back then, and now we need to know it again today. We need to know that our mind is what controls us. And if we do, then we're going to see the kind of results that we want. It's funny, I had a bunch of this and I just crossed it off this morning. I don't even tell you that. The truth is, everyone here is a divine, individualized expression of God. And you have it within you to pull that out and say, this is who I am. This is what I want today. This is how I want to be today. And allow that to happen. And I wrote this in because I don't know why, but it just sounded good. So we have to add a cup of perspective. Put in some sugar, some goodness to yourself. because we have to just have a shift. We have to shift into knowing that everything's going to work out. In your lifetime, and I know that all of us have had different experiences, but generally, in our lifetime, most things have worked out, right? They just do. And why we don't know that or forget about that is beyond me. I want you to know everything's going to work all right. And that God has your back. If you are doing spiritual work, if you are praying, if you are giving, if you are volunteering, if you're helping another person, God has your back. Because you are giving of yourself. Whether that's financially or emotionally, you are giving. God has your back. And as far as the thing that's not maybe working out today, if we keep a vision out there that maybe it'll work out tomorrow, or it's like being an athlete. I love athletes because, in fact, we were talking today about, what's her first name, Clark? Caitlin Clark. And, I was watching a little bit of basketball and they were like, shoo, 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 shoo. How do you think they got there? Practice. It's the movement, it's the hand, it's the mental equivalent that they have put into their mind to go shh. For that to happen, we have to be shh with our situations. We have to go shh, that's going to be okay. We have to move in that direction. Know that that's inherent in us. And we deserve that. We deserve that goodness. And then I wrote, okay, I'm okay, they are okay, and the situation will be okay. Just say it's going to be okay. Can you say that with me? It's going to be okay. Because when we bring that softness back to us, what happens is that we become gentle with ourselves. Otherwise, we're just scattered. Do you know what I'm talking about? Am I talking to the choir here? You get it? We're just, instead of, it's just going to be okay. I'm in the middle of an argument with somebody and I go, it's going to be okay. I just have to stop. Stop that. We have to remember this. A moment of self-love creates distance from the discomfort and allows answers, solutions, and opportunities. A moment of self-love creates distance from the discomfort and allows answers, solutions, and opportunities. We have to create that. Nobody else is going to do that for you. Nobody, your husband, your wife, your friend, your girlfriend, nobody is going to do that except you. And we need to know that. The other thing, and this is kind of a little sidebar of this, is that when we start to do this, we start to see patterns or behaviors that we do on a regular basis, and we go, and I think I'm going to let that one go. It doesn't serve me anymore. So all of this, as I said, is going to come full circle because we have to realize we're perfect, whole, and complete who we are right inside of us. And we have all the tools, but we have to just remember those tools. Jack Kornfield said this. He said, if your compassion does not include yourself, it's incomplete. It's incomplete. We have to include ourselves. So I wrote this, and I put this down. Compassion equals awareness. Compassion. Compassion is a noun that means sympathetic consciousness of others' distress and desire to alleviate it. It's also ourselves. It's also ourselves. It's being compassionate with ourselves. I have this great quote that I found, and I thought, oh, this is great. It says, self-compassion is a more effective motivator than self-criticism because its driving force is love, not fear. We have, and anybody needed compassion this week? Yeah, we all have. At some time or another. It could be anything. It could be, as Judy always tells me, it's that guy that cut me off. I have to have compassion for myself because I want to go and, get back at him, but I'm not. I'm going to have compassion and start doing something different. So I want to talk about one more thing, and this is going to feel a little bit like a twist in this of being gentle. But the last point I want to talk about is betrayal. Betrayal of the self. Do you know what I mean? Has anybody betrayed themselves in their lifetime? We have. And it's very painful. But when we think of betrayal, we usually think of we're betraying somebody else, or we're violating a person's trust or confidence. But we forget that when we betray ourselves, we're betraying our own personal feelings. And we have to learn about that. I'll give you an example. I think I've told this story before, but I'm going to give it to you again anyway. I won't say who did it or who's in my household that did it. I like to talk about my household. Anyway, there's one individual in my household who, when we first all moved in together, said, oh, I'll do the dishes, I'll clean up, I'll take care of it, don't worry about it. Here's the betrayal of myself. For 2 years, I let this go on. Because I just thought, oh, well, they'll take care of it. I gave them the benefit of the doubt. And I really didn't even pay much attention because I thought, well, they'll just take care of it. But for 2 years, I cleaned up after them. It was terrible. And finally, one day, I just said, well, I started saying things like, are you really going to do that? You really going to clean up? You're going to? And they go, oh, I'll get it later, I'll get it later. Guess who cleaned up? And then I had a God idea, and God does this to me, I'm working on something back in here, and God will say, hey, here, try this. Anyway, the God idea was a realization that every time they said this, they were lying to themselves. They were really betraying themselves, and as well as everybody in the household. That was the God idea. Now, how do I communicate that? I waited till the next time they said, I'll clean it up. And then I said, I still remember the day. I said, I have this thought around you cleaning up. And I don't want to be mean to you. I don't want to say anything bad. I want to be gentle around this. I said, but every time you say you're going to clean up and you don't, you are absolutely lying to yourself. And you're setting yourself up to fail. You're betraying yourself. And they went, oh. They had never even thought about it.
Really? Wow.
Hadn't even thought about it. Was not in their consciousness. I said, so what I'd like you to do instead, if you're going to do it, then do it. You don't need to tell me you're going to do it. Just do it. If you're not, then don't say anything. Because it's not me you're hurting me, although I'm frustrated because you say you're going to do something, you don't do it. You're hurting yourself. Now, I say this because I think what happens to us is sometimes we betray ourselves by words that we use. So I want you just to ponder during the week, are there things that I say to myself that I'm betraying myself? Well, I don't really need to do that, or I just let that one go. Yeah. It's a little twist in this thing about being gentle with ourselves, but it's something that's very, very deep. I found, this is one of the quotes in my thesis. I liked it a lot. It's from, her name is Susan Anderson, The Journey from Abandonment to Healing. It says, the recovery task for this stage, this is the betrayal thing, is to take hold of yourself one moment at a time, to recognize that you are a separate person, a fully capable adult, responsible for your self-care. It is no one else's responsibility to meet your emotional needs. Only you can do that. Emotional self-reliance involves accepting the intense feelings of the experience, taking stock of your present reality, and assuring yourself that you will survive. Because that's the problem. We think that we make a mistake and then the life is over. And that's not at all true. We make a mistake, we make a mistake. In fact, I was talking to my dean yesterday, and we talked about mistakes. She says, yeah, I make so many mistakes, I just laugh at myself. So maybe the next time you make a mistake, you just laugh at yourself. I was thinking about Reverend Dr. Kathy Hearn. She would be on stage and she would quote a mistake or say something about she had done. And then I just remembered she would laugh about herself. And she did this on stage. I thought, oh, well, now that's interesting. I never thought about it that way. But just laugh it off. It's not important enough to put yourself in a place where you're bad. Life happens. It just happens. So I'm going to end with Raymond. We're going to be a little early because we're going to get this meeting done. Has this been good enough for you? I mean, is this something you can grab onto? Okay, good. So Raymond Barker says this. I'm sorry. Raymond Charles Barker. Thank you. Raymond Charles Barker. I got to just read it here. Anyway, he says, where am I at here? I got to go to the right place. And I'm going to do a treatment and end with this in a moment, but he talks about treatment as a means to support ourselves. Because I can remember moments in my life where I felt like I was always just struggling to get through the day. And I had I was going to ministerial school. I had a business partner that was basically taking my business and going somewhere else. And I would come home so frustrated. And I've talked to many of you about doing this. And what I ended up doing is I would take one sheet of paper, and on one side I would write all the feelings I had so that I could get rid of those ugly feelings. And then I'd turn the paper over, and then I would write a prayer to erase the old. Erase that no longer served me, and then I always felt better. So Raymond says this, through treatment, prayer, the divine pattern comes to the surface as it comes to your conscious mind. It causes you to expand and to rejoice in good. You change from the pessimist to the optimist because you have lost your old pattern and found your new one. This is the new birth. You are no longer putting new wine in old bottles. You have only the new wine of life in your new cask. You are vital and fresh. And say this to yourself. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. And I'm going to read his prayer. And then I'll end with a prayer and we'll have our music again. So say this to yourself. I believe that at the center of my being there's a power which is joyous, creative power. I believe that my recognition of this power causes it to act for me. I now recognize it and say, come forth. Break through every obstruction with which time, space, and memory have surrounded me. Break through every pattern of the I can't, or the I shouldn't, or what will happen if I do. Break through the past of background, heredity, and tradition. Joy in me come through me now, in creative ways of good, unrestricted by my own memory and my own background. Come out and operate through me. There's a joy at the center of my being. This joy I did not create, but it created me. This joy in me is a spiritual power. I now release it. Nothing in me blocks it. I let it out to find its creative way to appear. It makes me whole and a better person. It takes me out of what I am not and into what I really am, and into what I want to do and will do. And so as I know this truth that is written in these words, that the divine spirit moves through each and every one here, everyone that's online, those that are going to hear this message later on, Spirit is moving through us in many different ways. And that we can tap into that spiritual truth at any moment. And so it's only about remembering It's only about remembering that that truth is in our heart, that truth is in our mind, that the truth is in our beingness. And so I know as we go forth today, through our lives, through our things that are going on, through the training, through the caretaking of ourselves, the Spirit is moving through each and every person as a gentle way, as a loving way, as a perfect way. And so I bless today, this talk, how long or short it may be, knowing that it's just the message that we all need to hear today. Nothing more, nothing less. And so with that, I give great thanks. I let it be, and so it is.